every race we do outdoors is a 4-second spurt. And here, a 30-second run, so every run's about a 5, would be equivalent to 5 runs on a, normal race.
It rained a few minutes ago when the track's not completely dried. It's acting like, the oil is coming up out of the asphalt a little bit. It's getting pretty slippery out there.
Slippery isn't the word for it, as today the monster trucks are on a long figure-8 course in Louisville, Kentucky at the Louisville Motor Speedway as the United States Hot Rod Association Monster Truck Challenge comes to ESPN, the Total Sports Network.
Louisville, Kentucky. It is a town that prides itself on speed. See, they have a little horse race here every May. Sometimes those horses go on to bigger and better things like Triple Crowns. Either way, the best place to be in Louisville is in Victory Lane, which is where I happen to be standing. Hello again, everybody. I'm Ken Brew, and welcome to the fastest 30 minutes on television, Monster Truck Challenge. Oh, do we have a show for you today. Here's the voice of Monster Truck Challenge, Joe Lowe.
The U.S. Hot Rod Association has assembled the top trucks in the country for today's event. Barely Tame, driven by Doug Spanier, gets a bye. Wayne Smolzanek and Tropical Thunder takes on Chuck Falken and Excalibur. Bill Weaver piloting Rambo against Mark Fendler and Kodiak. It will be David Morris, the equalizer, going against David Cook and the Master of Disaster. Alan Pezzo and Predator against Gary Porter's Carolina Crusher. And Big John Moore, no problem, is matched up against Scott Stevens and King Crunch. As we view highlights from the first round, remember this is a long figure-8 course in Louisville. It will test the endurance of the trucks and the skill of the drivers. First up, Wayne Smolzanek out of Jupiter, Florida, driving Tropical Thunder. He goes against Chuck Hawkins from Toledo, Ohio, up aboard Excalibur. The Tropical Thunder, Excalibur ready to go. First round highlights. Both trucks off the line. Excalibur with a little bit of a lead as they go into turn number 1. And then, whoa, look out, Chuck. He spins all the way around in the slippery track, claims its first victim of the day.
I had a great start, but all of a sudden things got away from you.
Yeah, I was pushing it a little too hard in the corner. I had my rear steering cocked enough, and I thought I could, wing around there that hard, but I goofed.
But Chuck's not the only one that goofed, as you'll see in these first round highlights. Here comes Rambo, driven by Wild Bill Weaver out of Hastings, New York, going up against Kodiak, Mark Fendler. And we pick up this race halfway around the course as they approach the cars. Watch Rambo. He comes up, over, whoa, does a handstand. And what great driving skill as Bill Weaver gets it back under control and continues. Now as they approach the finish line, again, Rambo up and over, bounce, gets it under control, and Rambo wins on this course in Louisville.
He had a wild ride out there. I thought you were going to tip it over.
Yeah, it got up there on the nose a little bit, but we just kept in the throttle and tried to pull her back out.
This has been a tough course for Mark Fendler and Kodiak. He's just trying to make it around the thing.
Yeah, we did a lot of damage to the truck last night. We were running it in two-wheel drive, and the front suspension's completely gone. The front frame's bent pretty bad, so we came out there, gave it our best shot.
This is the second day of this figure-8 endurance test that the United States Hot Rod Association is putting on in Louisville. Now, David Morris in the equalizer goes up against David Cook and Master of Disaster, a battle of the Davids. And you're about to see something you very rarely see on the United States Hot Rod Association Monster Truck Challenge. David Morris, the equalizer, taking the lead. This is normal for him. He comes up, approaches the cars, and instead of going over them, comes to a complete stop. And David Cook and Master of Disaster breezes by for an easy win.
We thought we had electrical problems, and it turns out that it's a fuel pump. Fuel pump locked up on that run and shut us down. We're going to put another fuel pump on and come back.
First round highlights continue from Louisville, Kentucky. Alan Pezzo and the Predator goes up against Gary Porter and the Carolina Crusher. At the top of the show, Gary Porter was talking about how slippery the track was, but as you're about to see, it wasn't Gary Porter, but Alan Pezzo and Predator that had trouble with the slippery track. Here he goes, look out, Alan! He spins out on turn number 1. gets it back on track, goes over the cars, only to fall victim to the slippery track once again.
You had a great start, but things got away from you. What went wrong?
Well, got a little slippery there in the first corner and spun out. And the second corner was no better, but we managed to finish the course. But at the end of there, we broke a steering knuckle.
First round highlights continue. Scott Stevens and the King Crunch out of Spring, Texas, goes up against the guy who had the wildest ride of the day in Louisville, John Moore, and no problem from Lafayette, Tennessee. Now, did you ever wonder what it would look like to have a monster truck go around a figure eight course with just rear steer? John Moore is going to show us. He takes a tour of the infield, manages to get it back on track, and again, the truck has a mind of its own. John looks at this track from every conceivable angle. He looks like a sailor on shore leave, but again, great driving skill, straightens things out. Over the cars, he does manage to finish the track. Not the prettiest run we've ever seen, but you gotta have front steer to negotiate figure eight.
The only problem we had here was we didn't get the power steering belt tightened, and I lost that right off the starting line, so we ran that whole course there just with the rear steering alone, and that's a little tough trying to get all the way around this track just running on the rear steering.
That's round number one highlights in Louisville. Round number two in the Survivors coming up.
You got to catch your breath. I know I got to catch my breath. Joe Lowe's got to catch his breath after all that action. Stand by. We've gone past round one. Round two is coming up. If it's anything like round one, these trucks are going to be flying out of here. Monster Truck Challenge continues from the great Commonwealth of Kentucky in just a moment.